Hey everybody, Jimmy here. Welcome back to the channel. So last week we deep dove into DGAZ, and today I'm looking at natural gas /NG, the natural gas futures, and I thought, hey, why not? We had a few requests. Why don't we take a look at UGAZ? We'll specifically dive into it, see how it relates to /NG, and kind of see where natural gas is moving. Last time we talked about it, we had discussed that natural gas was possibly moving to the downside so that DGAZ might be the play. Let's dive into /NG, check it out, see what it looks like, see if we were right or not, and then make some decisions on maybe how to look for entries on UGAZ, and if not, if it's not looking good, then possibly DGAZ. So thanks for stopping in. If you're new, subscribe, and let's jump in. All right, we've got a chart up on /NG, which is natural gas. And I wanted to start off because I think it's really important to go into larger time frames and then slowly kind of drill down into the smaller or the faster time frames. So I'm starting off with the weekly chart, and you can see more significantly is just kind of this part. And you can see we've pushed down and then set a lower high, a lower low, lower high, lower low, another lower high, and now we've set a lower low. So right now, looking at the weekly chart, my first thoughts about natural gas are that we're going lower. We've broken the lowest low, which was this area here, and we marked this last week. You can see that little tick mark there. We had said if it breaks below that point, we're going to go a little bit lower, and that indeed has happened. So we're going a little bit lower. And now I'm going to jump over into the daily time frame, and let's see how it looks over here. So if I zoom out just a tiny bit, you can kind of see this relevant portion over here where we've been kind of trickling down. Every time we come up into that 50 simple moving average, it seems like we push back down. We drew our bubble, we pushed into it, came back down. Again here, back down. Again here, back down. We had that little push up and then a failure. So we're now setting a lower low, which tells me with some confidence that we are going to continue to go lower on natural gas. And I promised in the intro that we'd jump into UGAZ, so I want to go ahead and just take a look at it real quick, and we can try and make sense of all this. So on the daily chart for UGAZ, now as we all know, and if you don't know, UGAZ is the corresponding ETF for the natural gas futures /NG. So if /NG moves up, then UGAZ is going to move up. If it moves down, UGAZ is going to move down. So as we get into this, you can see we've got that big spike on UGAZ, just like with natural gas, and then this slow trickle off down here below that 50. So if I kind of zoom in on these a little bit, and let me just drop this volume down. So you can see every time we touch on the 50, we get that push down. We got another touch, we got a push down. And I'll draw a couple bubbles here real quick. But you can see right here, we got that touch there. And then we got another one here. And kind of a pseudo up here and pseudo kind of down here. But roughly when it kind of pulls back into that level, it then trickles down lower. So we had that happen back on, looks like July 11th. And then it pushed down, had a little up day, and then continued lower. So we are lower than this low, which was the concern, because as we're setting lower lows and lower highs, that's an indication that we're going to continue to go lower. So if we watch this low, if we break it, that means we should be going lower, which we did. So if I flip over to the 5-minute chart for today, for UGAZ, and actually, let's go to /NG and see today. And I'm going to turn on our study set so we can look at our ETFs with our VWAP bands. So right now, I think that UGAZ is not in play if you're swing trading, because we're looking to go lower. So DGAZ right now seems to be the play if you're holding for multiple days. Now, if you want to catch an intraday play on UGAZ, in an uptick in the market, for an hour or less than an hour, then UGAZ might be your play, and we can take a look at that right now. So for today's action, we had, let's kind of go back to the start. So here's Monday's open for the futures on natural gas. We started to sell off, and then we got this pullback up here into the middle VWAP band, and then sold off again. And so really, really the only entries today would have been, somewhere around the break down here, going lower, which would have been a DGAZ play. And then another opportunity might have been over here. But as you can see, it bounced right away, and now it's just sort of corkscrewed and fizzled out. So doesn't look like there was a whole lot of action today in natural gas besides this big push down here. So if you would have gotten short maybe somewhere in the 720, 725, right near the open of the market, mountain time, let's take a look and see what DGAZ would have looked like. And I'm going to flip my tool over. Let's see what our margin of profit might have been. So right in here at the market open, we were saying right around 725. If you would have gotten long in here and held into this push up, that was 4.5%. That was actually a really big push on natural gas to the downside, which pushes DGAZ to the upside. So that could have been a nice play. Even if you'd have gotten out off this big bar here, you'd have been at 2.7%. So either way, good plays there. Now, if I just flip over to UGAZ, we can see what's happening. UGAZ just sold off, and you can't short these ETFs, so it wouldn't have been a play. I don't really see any long plays here or here. They just don't look like they were setting up very well. You did have a support level kind of in this area, so some could argue that after this was set up, you could have taken this one to the long side. So let's say you did get long here, and you held, maybe you held into the break a little bit conservatively, 1.7%. So that could have been something that you did was, take this bounce off this support level. So I'll give you that. That might have been a possible play. But again, remember, if you take this, you know that you're going against the trend. Because if we look again at natural gas and we go to the daily chart, what is natural gas currently doing? It's currently downtrending, and it just broke this lower low, so we're going even lower. So if you wanted to stack probability in your favor, I would say that you would want to only be trading DGAZ right now. If you're wanting to do a counter trend trade, by all means jump into UGAZ, but make sure you're getting good confirmation first, and make sure that you have some previous history from that day that is demonstrating a support level that you can trust, that you can catch a bounce off of moving to the upside. So that's kind of the breakdown on natural gas. That's UGAZ and DGAZ. I think we're in a DGAZ world right now. I think UGAZ is sitting the bench for a minute, and all we got to do is keep watching the daily chart, keep watching the weekly chart, and when we start to see a reverse of this trend and we start getting higher highs and higher lows, then we can start thinking about, okay, maybe it's UGAZ's turn to come into the game, and maybe DGAZ can sit on the bench, as long as we're seeing the higher highs and higher lows. Now, you can always counter trend trade, but just remember, the probabilities or the odds are not necessarily in your favor because you're trading against the overall bigger picture trend, which is the daily chart and the weekly chart. Just something to think about. This is, again, all my opinion, so take it with a grain of salt. If you guys have any questions or any comments, leave them below. Hope you guys all had a green day today, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for stopping by.